Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how to do a currency conversion in both directions. So I just pulled up CAD USD, which is the exchange rate to turn $1 Canadian into US dollars, just on Google. So this is the value as of, well, right now I guess. And it says that $1 Canadian equals 0.75 United States dollars. And so that's going to be our conversion factor. And just a note about conversion factors, this is one example of a conversion factor. We've got $1 CAD equals 0.75 USD. But this exact same process would work if we're doing some other type of conversion. Like for instance, 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So this skill that we're going to use to convert currency is the exact same skill that you would use to convert, say, imperial to metric or metric to imperial. Okay, and I've just, pulled a couple numbers out, turned $50 American to Canadian, and turned $1,000 Canadian to American. Okay, now the way we can set this up is we can set this up as a scale factor, as a fraction equals a fraction. And so we're going to put our scale factor on the left, and usually you put the 1 underneath. So I'm going to put the 1 CAD underneath, and we'll put the 0.75 USD up top. And so this is how you generally set up and solve a proportion. A proportion is anytime you've got a fraction equals a fraction. And aside from my pen challenges, there we go. So that conversion factor you can use anytime you want to convert American dollars to Canadian dollars. And there's a few ways to set this up, but one way I like to do, since it is useful in so many situations, is to set this up as a fraction equals a fraction. And anytime you're setting up a proportion, you need to make sure that your things match. So since I've got USD up top here, I must have USD up top on the right-hand side. And since I've got CAD underneath, I must have CAD underneath over here. They have to match. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 50 American dollars that I've given in this question and fill in where the US dollars are on the right-hand side. And then what I'm left is my unknown, which is my Canadian dollars. This is what I'm trying to solve for. So I have X Canadian dollars here. So now what we can do is we can do something called cross multiply and divide. There's a few ways to do this, but the way to do this in one step, which I kind of like, you're always going to have your variable in one spot. Of course, in the proportion. That's your one unknown. You can only ever have one unknown if you're going to solve it. So then on the diagonal that does not have your variable, you circle diagonally like this. Okay, those two numbers you multiply, and then the number on the outside you divide by. Excuse my pen challenges. So what this means is X equals 50 times, well, 1, right, the 1 underneath here, and then divided by 0.75, which is the number up here. So let's pull up a calculator, and let's turn it on. 50, well, the times 1 doesn't matter, but I guess I'll show it anyway, because that's part of our cross multiply, is the 50 times 1. So 50 times 1 divided by 0.75 equals 66.66, and you notice this last digit way over here is a 7. That tells you that the 666 rounds up to a 7. Or if you want to go to the nearest penny, you can see that this next 6, that third digit 6, is more than 5 or above. So this 6 we will round up. So X is $66.67 if we round to the penny. And, with money, you should generally round to the penny if you aren't told otherwise. Okay, so let's try this again with 1,000 CAD. So we're going to set it up the exact same way. We have our exchange rate, which is 1 Canadian dollar is 0.75 US dollars. So let's set that up. We'll put the 1 underneath, because that's usually what you want to do with the unit rate. You want, per 1 whatever. This is called a unit rate because 1 unit is 1 Canadian dollar. So we'll put the 1 Canadian dollar underneath. We'll put the 0.75 cents US up top. And then we were told in the question that we want 1,000 Canadian dollars. So just like here, it matters. It matters that your Canadian dollars match. It matters that your US dollars match. So CAD has to go underneath, and we're told we've got 1,000 of those. And so the unknown is up top, and that is our US dollars. So in this case, because our variable is in the top right, we are going to cross multiply this way, because this is the diagonal that doesn't have a variable in it. So in our calculator, what we're going to do is we're going to say 1,000 times 0.75, because those are the things you divide when you multiply, when you're cross multiplying. So you multiply the things on the diagonal and you divide by the thing outside. And so then we divide by, well, I mean, dividing by 1 doesn't actually change anything, but let's do it anyway. So let's pull this to my side so that I can see this at the same time as my calculator. So we're going to do 1,000 times 0.75 divide by 1, and my calculator tells me it is $750 exactly. So I guess I'm doing X in red. So X is $750. Okay, and one more example. I want to show you guys that this skill works just as well for other types of conversion. So let's just, do some centimeters to inches. So let's say we've got 35 centimeters, and I want to turn those into inches, and I know that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so we will set this up. I set it up with my unit underneath last time, but it actually doesn't, although really it is best practice to put the unit underneath. So I'm going to do that again this time. 1 inch I'll put underneath. It's really best to put the unit underneath every time. And then the 2.54 then goes up top, 2.54 centimeters. And then because I know that this is centimeters, the centimeters has to match. So 35 centimeters goes here. And then the last thing is our unknown, which is going to be X inches. So in this case, I'm going to cross multiply. This is the diagonal that does not have my variable. So I'm going to multiply those two numbers, divide by this number out here. So I can do this in my calculator in one step. I can do 35 times 1 really doesn't matter, right? So I'm just going to skip the times 1 and do divide by 2.54. And we get 13 point, let's just round to the nearest tenth. So this 7 in the next digit means that we need to round this first 7 up to an 8. So X is 13.8 inches. 13.8 inches. Okay, so that's your sort of general skill, setting up and solving a proportion, which is used anytime you need to convert units that have a direct scale factor. A direct scale factor like 1 of 1 equals something of another.